Hello, my name is Caitlyn, and I'll be your host for another episode of your Health, Wealth, Happiness, and Spirit. July is UV Safety Month, so with the help of Doctor Sadiq, we'll be breaking down all sorts of ways you can be safe in the sun. Welcome, Doctor.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start by helping our audience understand what exactly UV radiation is.
Of course, UV stands for ultraviolet radiation, which is a form of radiation that is emitted by the sun and also artificial sources.
Now, what sort of effects can UV radiation have on our health?
Actually, it can have many effects for our health. It can be a major benefit in producing vitamin D, which is really very good for our bone strength, and it can also cause health issue if you are overexposed.
Now, can you elaborate on some of those health issues that might be caused by overexposure?
UV exposure causes a lot of issues with your skin. In the short-term basis, UV rays can cause sunburns. Over the period of times, it can also cause premature aging of your skin. Worst of all, it can cause skin cancers.
Now, would you say that skin cancer is the biggest risk when it comes to UV radiation?
Yes, absolutely. Skin cancer is most common type of cancer in the United States and all over the world. Actually, people don't take care of themselves when they go out in the skin, and that's where we get a lot of cancers. Melanoma is one of the actually very bad cancer which can cause by UV radiation.
Now, with such risks out there, what sort of steps can someone take when they're out in the sun to make sure that they stay as safe and healthy as possible?
You know, as always, I tell my patients safety, prevention is very, very important. So we have to protect our body from these sun UV lights. We don't do overexposure and do it appropriate exposure. And when we are going to the sunlight, we have to make sure we use the long sleeves, long skirts, pants, hat, so we cover ourselves properly. So that's very, very important. And use the fabric which has a tightly woven fabric, and it will protect you more.
Now, you mentioned some accessories. What else should we be wearing?
Hat, scarves. You know, when obviously we cannot cover every part of our body with the clothes. So hat is good, but ears and the face we can use the glasses, sunglasses. Make sure that your ears are either covered by the some scarf or hat. That will help you.
Interesting. Now, actually, in this month's edition of our magazine, there was an article about proper SPF use. Can you elaborate on that for us?
Of course, SPF stands for sun protection factor, and it goes beyond sunscreen. It has to do with some other factors. As we talked earlier, this protection of our body is two types. One is sunscreen and the other is physical factors.
So you mentioned physical factors. Now, what type of SPF is sunscreen?
That is chemical.
Okay, I see. So having both options of sun protection is important.
Yes, of course. Sunscreen is crucial for protecting areas of the skin that usually won't be covered by the cloth, like your ears, face, the areas that are the most common places for people to develop the skin cancer.
So can we go over some other sunscreen best practices for our audience?
Yes, of course. To start with, we need to make sure that whatever sunscreen or chemical sunscreen we are picking, it has to be at least 30 SPF or higher, and pick something which is broad spectrum.
And what does broad spectrum mean?
Broad spectrum sunscreen protects from both UVA and UVB radiation, so you can get more effective and complete shield from the sun.
That's very interesting. Now, moving on from choosing a sunscreen, how should people actually use it?
Be sure to apply it 15 minutes before going outdoor, and be sure to cover any skin that won't be covered by clothes. Don't forget to cover your ears, nose, and face.
And how long does it take for the sunscreen to wear off?
Usually it takes 2 hours. It's important to reapply it to exposed skin every 2 hours, and it's also important to reapply after swimming or you are sweating.
That does make a lot of sense. Now, do you have any other parting words for our audience about UV protection?
Sunlight is important for our health as it promotes the critical vitamin D, but it's also important that we enjoy the sun safely. We should be smart about using sunscreen and physical SPF options to keep our skin safe and healthy.
Well, thank you again for joining us, Doctor, and that'll be all for this week's episode. Be sure to subscribe here on YouTube and check our website, yourhwhs.com, for more great content. Until next time, stay happy, healthy, and live better.
Thank you.